If I had to estimate the amount of time I've spent begging or bargaining with an invisible force, it would be a lot. Yeah, I'm really good at estimates. I don't talk to invisible forces because I'm suffering from some psychotic break. At least I don't think I am. I do it because I'm anxious. Every time my plane goes wheels up, or I get a medical test result, or I hear about some tragedy, I send up a quick prayer to whoever might be listening. I've been doing it for as long as I can remember. Please don't let this plane crash. Please don't make me take the SATs again, etc. But even as I'm bargaining with whoever is up there, there's always that thought in the back of my mind. Is anyone even listening? There are all sorts of ways to pray. In fact, the word pray in English comes from the Latin precarious, which means more or less getting something because you asked for it. But prayer is more than just asking for stuff. I mean, sure, I spend a lot of time asking God to totally hypothetically save me from dying in a fiery plane wreck. Not that this is a thing that I worry about all the time. But let's be honest, as soon as I'm back on solid ground, I wonder, hey, was it my prayer that kept the plane in the air? Or was it, physics and a competent pilot? Look, I majored in liberal arts, okay? Physics is as mysterious to me as God. But I hear it's a pretty major force in the world. No matter how hard you pray, you probably can't stop gravity from gravitying, or the sun from rising in the east and setting in the west, or YouTube comment sections from being a dumpster fire. These are just the natural laws of the universe. Praying doesn't stop them. And if you've looked around sometime in the past, 5,000 years, it's obvious that prayer can't always protect us from the worst case scenarios. So why do it? I found part of an answer in an unexpected place. Hebrew grammar. Glamorous, I know. Every Hebrew word has a root that gives us a clue to its deeper meaning. And the root of the Hebrew word for prayer, tefillah, comes from the word for judgment, meaning that prayer isn't just talking to an invisible force or asking a greater power for stuff. It's a moment of judgment. Let's get one thing straight. I'm not saying that Jewish prayer is a collective side-eye at all of the suckers who are less holy than me. Judgment doesn't always have to mean having a snarky opinion about other people's poor life choices. Though, let's face it, that's one of the best parts of being a person. Guys, I may be on a spiritual journey, but I'm only human, okay? In this case, judgment means taking a good, hard look at yourself. It means setting aside time to get in touch with who you are, what you feel, why you're feeling it. And that means that prayer is a lot deeper and more dynamic than just showing up to ask God for stuff. It's a lot harder. Sometimes looking within kind of sucks, I'll stare directly at the sun, but never in the mirror. I'm not saying that Taylor Swift was writing about how hard it is to pray, but I'm not saying that either. When I first started exploring Jewish prayer, it felt pretty inauthentic, even silly. I'm just standing here with a bunch of people, some of them wearing straps, boxes, and shawls, all of us reciting someone else's words in an ancient language that we may or may not fully understand. And we're supposed to do this every single day, 3 times a day, over and over and over, forever until we die.
Well, that stuff sounds exhausting.
But prayer is like anything else, right?
You get out of this what you put into it.
I did my best to keep an open mind. So I showed up even when I didn't feel like it, because that's how you build routine. You don't get results if you're not consistent. And when I didn't understand the words, I read the translations. And when everything felt terrible and all I wanted to do was just scream and cry and hide in a corner, I'd look around me and see a room full of people feeling the exact same thing. Each of us on our own journey, separate but together. Sometimes sharing joy, singing the same words at the top of our lungs, and sometimes standing together in shared sorrow. But I wasn't just connecting to other people at my synagogue. Jewish prayer connects us to all the Jews who came before us, whether they lived 1,000 years ago or 50. It turns out that even old-timely holy men struggled with their mental health sometimes. Check out this prayer we say at the end of every weekday morning service. I am weary with groaning. Every night I drench my bed, I melt my couch in tears. First of all, I am shocked that not a single emo band has co-opted this treasure trove of open source lyrics. But also the first time I saw those words, I felt seen. Jewish prayer doesn't pretend that terrible things don't exist. It covers the full spectrum of human emotion. God is like that mythical meme of the perfect boyfriend, able to handle us at our worst And it's comforting sometimes to have the language for how it feels to be at our worst. Praying gives me space to get in touch with those feelings. It says, hey, it's okay to feel terrible. You're not the first, you're certainly not the last, and most importantly, you're not alone. I need that sometimes. Of course, Jewish prayer isn't totally doom and gloom. We spend a lot of time praising God, like a lot. And you might think, okay, why exactly does God need me to say nice things? Why does an all-powerful force care what I have to say about it? You can say whatever you want about the omnipotent forces of the universe, but they don't exactly need our validation. But you know who does need that validation? You guessed it, us. It turns out that saying thanks once in a while is actually really good for you. Have you ever heard of a gratitude journal where you write down 3 things that you're grateful for at the end of every day, which is supposed to make you a happier and more stable human being? Apparently it actually works. Prayer serves the same function. Every day we wake up and say, hey, cool, I'm still alive. No, literally, it's the first thing that observant Jews say when they wake up. Thank you, God, for not killing me in my sleep. Thank you for this body, this world, these circumstances. Sure, lots of things suck, but lots of things don't. In fact, just being alive is worth feeling grateful for. And saying thank you first thing is a really healthy way to start your day. There's psychological research that backs this up. The studies are full of jargon, but they basically boil down to, hey, taking time out of your day to pray is good for your brain. So, okay, you get all sorts of benefits from praying. You build community, you look within yourself, you get comfort when you're sad, and a reminder to be grateful for everything you have. But that doesn't answer the ultimate question, which is anyone even listening? I say yes. Now, I can't prove it, because that's not how faith works, but I can tell you that it's a pretty amazing feeling to believe you can talk to God anytime you want, and that God will listen, free of judgment, free of anger, full of boundless love and support. Does God always answer us in the way that we want? No, of course not. Otherwise, I'd be fabulously wealthy and have a pet unicorn. God isn't a vending machine or some genie. It's not about granting wishes. It's about showing up to ask. It's about believing that you're worth listening to. It's about recognizing and being grateful for everything God has created. And that mere act of noticing, of saying thank you, is a really special way to stay centered in a world full of chaos. Some days, that's the biggest miracle I can imagine.